A wise man once said, "We know time exists." And in a way, we do. Time not only plays an important role in the structure of the universe, but also a fundamental one in our everyday lives. Whether we need to get somewhere at a certain time, or we need to know how long we need to do something for, time affects many different areas of our lives. But while it is clear that we know that time exists, do we really know what time is? This question may seem rhetorical, but I believe it is not. In my opinion, there are multiple valid definitions of time. One having to do with how time physically pushes us forward at a constant rate, and the other having to do with how our mind and body perceive time due to a variety of factors. Before I explain further, I would like to discuss something I believe most of us have some experience with: time-sensitive quizzes. Now, like many of the other OSA students here, my math teachers have changed throughout the year, and so has the amount of time I have for my math quizzes. In the beginning of the year, we had an hour and a half for the entire math quiz, and now, for a quiz that's about the same length, we only have 45 minutes. Now, I usually finished in under 45 minutes anyways in the beginning of the year, and used the rest of the time to check over my work and make any corrections if I had to. However, those initial 45 minutes when I was first doing the quiz felt much longer than the 45 minutes I now have for the entire quiz. I believe that this is primarily due to the extra stress. And while this could be because the math questions are simply getting harder, I believe what's even more relevant is the fact that I know I only have 45 minutes, and not a bunch of extra time I can use just in case I have to, regardless of whether or not I would actually end up using it. Now, this tricks my brain into causing anxiety and makes time seem to speed up, making me also take longer on each question, because it feels like the same amount of time as beforehand. Anyways, it is clear that there are great differences between physical and perceived time. Physically speaking, time can be viewed as a sort of fourth dimension, but unlike spatial dimensions, we're not free to roam around on it, at least not with current technology, and we're just being constantly pushed forward. However, when it comes to perceived time, there are many factors that can change how we perceive the change in time, and make it slightly speed up or slow down. One of the most relevant being age. Have you or anyone you know ever heard or thought that as you grow older, time seems to speed up? It's definitely a common thought, and there are multiple theories as to why this may be the case. To explain the first theory, I would like you to meet John. John is a hypothetical grade 10 student. When John was younger, he did a lot of new things. This is not only because young people love doing new things, but also because there were simply more new experiences that he could do because he had done less in his life. For example, John rode a bike for the first time. He had his first day at school, and he went on a plane for the first time, all when he was relatively young, like most people. When he had such new experiences, his brain would store every single detail about it, because it had not seen much similar information in the past. However, when these things, such as riding a bike or going to school, became more routine, less and less information and detail would be stored in his memory, as it had already seen so much similar stuff from beforehand. This essentially causes time to speed up when we do more routine activities, because we're storing less information about them, and make it seem to slow down when we're experiencing new things, which also correlates with age, because, like I said before, you simply have more new things to do when you're younger. This also explains why you're more likely to remember the big events in your life, such as your first day at school or the day you graduated high school, than small routine things, such as what you had for lunch on any given day 3 weeks ago. Now, another theory that also has to do with age has to do with how much a certain amount of time is in relation to your entire lifespan. Let's imagine that when John was born, he had the capabilities that we do to store information, just for the sake of explaining this theory. Now, after a day, it's likely that he would remember every detail about that day. Not only because it was such a short amount of time, but also because it's all that he has to remember, because that represents his entire lifespan. However, after a week, that day has now grown into 7 days, and when he has his first day of school, it's now over 2,000. And a singular day represents 1/2000th of his life, meaning the memories from that day share the space in his memory with 2,000 other days, or maybe not 2,000, but a lot. This essentially means that as the relationship between a small amount of time, such as a day or a week, to your entire life decreases, your perception of time seems to speed up. There are also many other factors that can make time seem to speed up or slow down. One of the most relatable being how engaged you are in what is going on around you. Now, imagine it's the last day of school and you have 1 hour until summer break begins. You're also in your least favorite class and you're listening to a very boring lecture from a teacher that you have absolutely no interest in. It's likely that you, like many other people, would be looking at the clock, counting the minutes until school is over. And you may notice that time seems to slow down as you are doing this. Why? This is because while you may not be paying much attention to what the teacher is saying, you are noticing many more small details, such as how you are feeling, or the temperature in the room, or the brightness of the lights, or even just the clock ticking. Just as storing less information makes time seem to speed up, storing more can make it seem to slow down. And this makes time seem to slow down when you are bored. And the opposite is also true when you are heavily engaged in something, as you're less likely to notice these small things. Anyways, there are many other factors that relate to how we perceive time, but I can't discuss them all in a finite amount of time, whatever that even means. Anyways, I believe it's important to understand that time can not only be defined by the ticking of the clock, but also by how our brains and bodies perceive it. And understanding why this is the case can help us in a way control it and improve our lives. All in all, time allows us not only to gain insight into the universe, but also into ourselves. And it is how we use the time that we have that defines us, not the passage of time itself. Thank you.